We've had a 4.2 strong Oklahoma earthquake today between Wichita and Oklahoma City. We'll see it on the map, but look, we have to keep a mind on this map too. You see from the west coast that light blue line going all the way across up to the second large crack, and these are cracks in the continental United States. This is one of the cracks of a Michigan earthquake. Look at that. That's huge as well. We have to take into account the mantle plume that has been there around the Great Lakes area. As you can see here, that mantle plume is what's causing the Mid Continental Rift. It's like a horseshoe shape, and it goes from the west side down from Lake Superior all the way down through Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Texas, and then goes west into New Mexico, Arizona. And the right-hand side of that mantle plume, as you can see here, that beige color over the Great Lakes, that goes towards, comes down and goes towards the New Madrid seismic zone, which is a rift valley. New Madrid Rift Valley, it should be called. The United States is growing. Wherever you have a mantle plume, you have a rift valley. And we'll talk about that. Many people don't know that these quakes in Oklahoma, they may have, people may have believed that they are having to do with fracking, man-made earthquakes, but I don't think that that is the only thing. We have to keep this into account. This mantle plume has been there for about over 1 million years. It's one of the first mantle plumes of the Earth, the Laurentian area. This is the Cowina Fault, and this is the horseshoe-shaped mantle, the magma that we have under there. The geologists don't know where this magma is originating from, but it is definitely there, and it's rifting. We have the New Madrid seismic zone, the Rift Valley should be called, and we'll take a look at that. The river, Mississippi River is the Laurentian River, very little yet to be separated there. And we also have the western side of that plume that runs along, and we have the Oklahoma earthquakes. Let's take a look at that plume again so we keep that in mind as we look at the earthquakes. This is it right here again. Okay, the extent of the mantle plume coming down from Lake Superior, and that also, of course, was rifting. The great area, the plains area, is basically a rift valley. And we have a lot of volcanoes there as well. For example, Kansas, we have at least 15 volcanoes in Kansas. Most of them are diamond spewing volcanoes. They're called kimberlite volcanoes. A lot of people that feel booms and shaking underneath their houses and hear boom sounds, it could be the gas release from underneath, because as we said, there are 15 volcanoes in Kansas alone. Most of them are diamond and gem spitting volcanoes. Let's go to the maps now. Here we are at Sizemore, Berkeley, and these are all the earthquakes, even the smaller than 2.5, but we're looking at the 4.2. You can see you have a tremendous amount of earthquake activity there, and also along the New Madrid seismic zone, which is the Rift Valley. And remember that horseshoe shape that we saw over the Great Lakes is this way here. The western part goes like this and goes like this. And the eastern part goes around like this, flanking New Madrid seismic zone. Okay, New Madrid, Missouri, which is around there. So usually, okay, we have magma here as well in Maine. And this area here is a multi-caldera Yellowstone type complex that we looked into in the recent past. Multi-caldera Yellowstone type. That's what I decided to call it, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to understand it. Yellowstone multi-caldera type of complex right there. Okay, that was one of the biggest super volcanic eruptions of the past in this area right here. Now, we're looking at this now. Let's not get away from ourselves. This is what we're looking at 7.8 kilometer depth. And this is the area of the shaking. That's Wichita and that's Oklahoma City. Let's go to the topographic. You can see that Wichita and Oklahoma City. And let's go back to our aerial so we can see it much better. The black spots mean the population density. And they stop the, we can put in more shaky contours if we want right here. Okay, there we go. Some more, okay. The USGS stops the block around here, but if you extrapolate the shaking intensity, you could see that it could have been shaking up all this area here because, you know, the earthquakes east of the Rocky Mountains are felt 10 times more than we would feel them west of the Rocky Mountains because this area here is softer ground. It's softer ground. So this is our area of our earthquake, 4.2. And let's pan out so we can see this is the area of the Mantle Plume. Remember our Mantle Plume map goes like here, like this, and goes to the west here, and the other eastern part flanks here around the New Madrid seismic zone. And we know that this area here is the area of the, let's take away the population so we get a better look at the map. Okay. And where are tectonics? They don't show them. Bad. But this is Mississippi. The Mississippi River runs this way, up this way, and the that fault line here flanks the Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, and that is the St. Lawrence River. That all rivers are fault lines, as we know. Mississippi River down here, and this is basically a failed rift crack, a failed rift system. This is the other rift, the expanding here. It's expanding magma under here. Now, it's similar to what we have in the African Great Rift Valley. You can see here, let's take away the historic seismicity. Okay, right there. That's another area. You can see the rivers. You can see that is also a volcanic area. There's a magma under there, Mantle Plume, magma under there, and that's going to be just like Madagascar. It's going to slough off to the east. This is going to break off, and that's the Dead Sea Rift Valley as well. So this is an area that it will be at one point in the very, very distant future, may slough off like the Great Rift Valley of Africa. This thing here, because our Earth is growing. Our Earth is growing. We've even seen a couple of videos back, the Iceland 5.4 earthquake. Iceland has like, I don't know how many volcanoes it has, but it's right on the Mid-Atlantic tectonic rift, Mid-Atlantic rift. And that has we've seen a lot of activity there. That's magma under there. A lot of activity there, earthquakes. And we even had one half an hour later down here between Brazil and Sierra Leone in Africa. Half an hour after the Iceland quake, we had one down there. So this is growing. Our Earth is growing about the size of a human nail. As a human nail grows every year, that's how much the Earth is expanding in general terms every year. It's growing. So this is our area of our earthquake. Okay. And it shook up. This is where the block stops, but if you can extrapolate the lines, maybe a lot of this has shaken. Now, this is how many people reported feeling it on USGS, 1,683. And if we go to read a little bit about what's going on there, it'll tell you that most of America east of the Rocky Mountains has infrequent earthquakes. Well, we've seen a lot of frequent earthquakes there lately. Here and there, earthquakes are more numerous. For example, the New Madrid seismic zone on southeastern Missouri, in the Charlevoix-Kamouraska zone east of Quebec, in New England, New York, Philadelphia, Wilmington. We saw a lot of earthquakes there recently. But most of the enormous reaches of the Rockies to the Atlantic can go years without earthquakes. Earthquakes east of the Rockies, although less frequent than the west, are typically felt over a much broader region than earthquakes of similar magnitude in the west. East of the Rockies, an earthquake can be felt over an area more than 10 times larger than a similar magnitude earthquake on the west coast. So it would not be unusual for a 4 magnitude earthquake. Here we're talking about a 4.2. It would not be unusual for a 4 magnitude earthquake in eastern or central North America, that's where we have it now, to be felt by a significant percentage of the population in many communities more than 60 miles from its source. Okay? More than 60 miles from its source. That's the source. 100 miles is up to, well, that's about 60 miles, I guess. 100 miles would be up to, but you know, you can just extrapolate the intensity of the shake lines, and you can understand how much it may have gone out to be felt. And there's a lot of rivers and lakes around that. And remember the crack I told you was the crack between from Vancouver going up to New Madrid? That's it right there. You can see some of that there. Goes this way and goes this way here. And then the other crack from Mississippi up around here, New Madrid, up to St. Lawrence Seaway right there. Okay? That's the Keweenaw Fault. We're going to see that, the Keweenaw Fault right there we're going to talk about. One crack is here. You can see part of that crack here. And the other one is here that we saw. Okay, let's go to our Keweenaw hotspot. The 1 million years ago, Mantle Plume beneath the Mid Continental Rift system by Journal of Geophysics Research Solid Earth, Hutchison, White, Cannon, Schultz. The Proterozoic Mid-Continental Rift system of North America, remarkably similar to Phanerozoic rifting continental margins and flood basalt provinces. Like the younger analogs of volcanism within this older rift can be explained by decompressing, melting, and rapid extrusion of igneous material during lithospheric extension above a broad asthenospheric thermal anomaly called the Keweenaw hotspot, the Great Lakes area. That's what we saw before. Great Lakes International Multidisciplinary Program, or Crustal Evolution Seismic Reflection Profiles, Constraint End Member Models. Okay. Melt thickness, stretching factors, which yield an inferred mantle potential temperatures of about 1,500 to 1,570 degrees Celsius during rifting. Combined gravity modeling and subsidence calculations are consistent with stretching factors that reached 3 or 4 before rifting ceased, and much of the lower crust beneath the rift consists of relatively high density intruded or underplated synrift igneous material. The isotopic signature of Keweenaw 1 volcanic rocks, presented in a companion paper, is consistent with our model of passive rifting above an asthenospheric mantle. It's above the rifting over a mantle plume. That's what we have to keep in mind. The rifting over a mantle plume. And here again, EOS, North America's Mid-Continental Rift, characteristic of large igneous province, causing geologists to rethink some long-standing assumptions about how the giant feature formed. And this is a beautiful picture of an area of Lake Superior, and you can see the volcanic rocks, and on both sides of Lake Superior, towering above the blue waters. Okay, let's get this off, and the formation of the plate boundary. I just want to go into the map. Now, the picture says 1,000 words. This is where it is. Okay, and I'll leave a link below for you so you can see the beautiful video. They have a video here. This is what the rift looks like, the volcanics under the rift, the mantle plume, the rifting and the volcanism under there. Working backwards, volcanism, sedimentary rock layers seen today, seismic imaging they have here, and did a hotspot supply the excess magma? Okay, this is the Mid-Continental Rift failure. It stopped extending because of regional compression associated with Greenville orogeny. New age dating shows that most of the compression recorded by reverse faulting occurred long after extension volcanism ended. And insight into other rifted continental margins. And there's a video. You can watch the video. And at the end of the video, it says, I've watched this 2 or 3 times, there's some information in there, that the Mantle Plume, they don't know where the Mantle Plume is coming from. The Mid-Continental Rift is a place where visitors can interact with geological features that were there more than 1 billion years ago. Its evolution from extensional beginnings to rift failure, from Ice Age glaciers scouring it to lake infill, from ancient copper miners to modern boaters enjoying a lazy summer day. Ancient copper miners, let me remind you there, the copper mines of the Great Lakes. Let's go back to the map. The copper mines of the Great Lakes. Let's take this off. The copper was emptied up. Oh, we had more quakes here. Oh, look at that today. A lot more quakes here today. Okay, we'll look at that later. Because, you know, as I said before, the Mid-Atlantic ridge is very active as well. So the copper mines, you know, geology, copper around there, they were found to be emptied up, and they had found ancient tools there, mining tools. And they found that where did that copper go to? Well, it went to the old world. If you read we know that they had armor, they used it for their weapons, their swords, their spears, their lances. They used it for building materials. And they also found that the people from Crete, from Greece, around here, Crete, the people from Crete, of course, were trading all along the Mediterranean and even London, England, the British Isles. And they found that they had gone and come this way. This is the way they had traveled. And I don't think they would have gone to the Azores. They could have gone to the Azores, who knows. They had found that the Native American Indians around the Great Lakes area have Minoan DNA being from Crete. The Native American Indians having Minoan DNA. And also, one of the professors of a university, I think it was a letter that this professor sent in 1815, I can't remember, was it Maine or Massachusetts? I can't remember. One of the early universities there wrote a letter to all the Indian chiefs of the various tribes of North America. He wrote them a letter in ancient Greek, and he starts the letter by saying, "My brothers," aderfiamou. In Greek, aderfiamou means my brothers. He wrote the whole letter in ancient Greek. He says, "I'm writing this letter to you in your native language so that you can understand me." All these Native American Indian leaders, they knew how to write and read ancient Greek because that was their original language. And this professor, you have to, I can't remember the name of my video that it's in the anthropology playlists. Unbelievable information coming from the fact that he wrote them in ancient Greek, in their ancient Greek language, the ancient Greek letters, so that they would understand. He wrote the same letter to everybody. He says, "Be careful because of the influx of the new people coming into the land. Be careful that you don't lose your culture." And that's basically what he was saying in the letter, something like that. In general terms, that's what he was saying. And so it's not just the DNA, it's also their language. You know, the language and the lettering. It's very strange. So very strange. I mean, you know, the anthropology and the geology, how it links together. Okay, so I'll leave links below for you for this. This 4.2, as we said before, the 4.2 earthquake. Let's keep in mind that we have there a mantle plume. We have a mantle plume there, as we said before. And I'll leave links below. You can watch the video on this, on EOS, on North America's Mid Continental Rift, because a lot of these USGS, the USGS in regional information makes no mention whatsoever of the Mid Continental Rift in that area. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.